Hi guys, my name is Borrodante, and welcome back to Overpain. Today's patient is AJ Zulu, and they are quite complex composition with 4 characters and a backpack. So this is like a mine, I suppose. They're mining Bitcoin? Hello Borrodante, hi. Here is my submission for Overpain. I fear there might be too many elements to be done reasonably in one video. A good challenge for a change, I guess? We'll see how it goes. Maybe talking about the lighting is fine with the interaction with the character stuck on the wall who is supposed to be made out of a gem. Oh, so this ghosty character, they're actually in the wall. Made a short time-lapse vid for the painting process. And a PSD. What a media-rich submission! Alright, so we have a sketch. Oh, so these are the characters from some anime, right? So you used all these references. Cool. Alright, no problems in the sketch part, I think. Their main theme is actually amazing. What? Is there a conversation going on? Yeah. Alright, so the main problem I can see here is that each character is being painted separately, and not just each character, each body part of them, which of course may seem like an easier task if you're not experienced, but when you are experienced, you know really well how much things you miss out on when you paint like this. Pretty much you're working on one colored surface at a time, I suppose. And the problem with that is actually on like several layers. The first one, of course, being on the level of composition. You don't know exactly which colors you're working with before it's too late, before you're done with all the details on them. And so you may not know if it's okay for this character. Oh my god, that's some brutal color. You don't know if it's okay for this character to be this bright, or maybe it should have been darker to look better for the picture as a whole. And secondly, of course, there is no way you could possibly render properly all the reflected lighting and stuff like that. And the third problem with this, I would say brushwork, but it's not really a big problem in anime style, so I guess we're good with that one. Generally, of course, in just a painter kind of style, you have to make sure that you paint everything in one layer all together, so you would have proper edges of the objects with a good brushwork going on. But that's a different story. Of course, I will be painting more or less in this kind of painterly style, because that is my style. So yeah, in any case, let's start working. The first thing I'll start with is, of course, the composition in general, because without that solved, there's no point in doing anything else. So right now I zoomed out as far as I can to a thumbnail kind of scale, and I'll just spend about 5 minutes looking at it like this and changing whatever makes me feel like it's just not working out really well on the abstraction level. Just as a picture, does it look satisfying or not? If no, what is wrong, and solving it. And then we'll discuss what I did. Alright now, I did something. Obviously I did quite a lot. It doesn't all look perfect yet. I haven't gone into any details, but first of all, I zoomed out. Characters really felt like they're falling out of the picture, especially the main jam person. The head was just hitting the ceiling too much, so I had to get rid of that. Another important thing I did, I got rid of this insanely saturated shadow color. This is literally completely saturated red. In very few cases you could justify such a saturated color, and especially in a mine where we have probably a lot of air perspective, kind of like dust and everything. Colors should be much more bleached out by the fog, kind of the way they are in here, and this is something I emphasized a lot. Pretty much turned this area into like a tunnel that's going away over there more and more. This is kind of the scenario we're having now, so I sort of like made the whole wall an arc, so it's turning away from us. And of course, to support that, I sort of made this continuous line of the holding pieces of wood, whatever they're called, and made the triangular thing, and we'll add another one here as well. So yeah, the next thing, of course, I added a much more brave shading. I can see, this is a good word for this, because in here I can see how all the characters are shaded just to have a certain gradient on their surface, kind of like give us understanding of what the shape looks like, but without any dramatic changes in the brightness. Generally, the whole character is very brightly lit, which makes no sense. They're not outdoors, they're in a mine. It's really dark in here, and from this side there's no light source, so what I did is decided to switch the way the character is being visualized from being brighter than the background to being actually darker than the background, because on the other side we make a black silhouette of the character and add some air perspective behind them. As I already mentioned in the earlier Overpaint episodes, this is a good way to render something that is in the dark. And another thing I really want to mention is the glows. They're insanely strong, but they're not detailed, meaning they actually look like not the lighting, but much more like a fog. That's not justified in here because nothing is actually foggy in here. And so I removed that, actually made the wall behind the light source more of a realistic dark soil color. Even though it's brightly lit, still it should remain dark comparing to everything else, and just made a stronger emphasis of that glow only close to the light source. And same goes for the glow from the main character gem person, having much less glow on them, but I'll do a lot more work on that part of the picture later. Right now I just wanted to make sure that I look at an actual picture that looks like a mine. Also, I still feel like this character should be lower because this is again too little space from the top edge. So yeah, this is all I have to say at this stage. Now I'll zoom in a bit and work a bit closer on the lighting of the characters and of the backpack as well. And yeah, I'll move some smaller details around. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so I think I'm almost done for this episode. I still want to work a bit more on the main gem character, but overall I think the message is clear on how to work with this kind of stuff. Not gonna go too much again into the whole lighting thing, but generally just think about how many light you have in the scene and how much of the ambient light you can have in the kind of environment that you have. Mostly all the surfaces of the objects and characters that are facing away from this light source are gonna be dark. Yeah, of course, this character is standing sideways to the light source, so generally he's gonna be much darker overall. I assume this is a cape, and it's like this is the other side of it that is facing away from the light, so dark. And you see, when you're really analyzing the logic of the lighting and really go for it, following all the rules, even with really high contrast shadows, I'm literally using black shadows in many areas, it still works out because it all follows the proper logic altogether. So in the end, even though you start with something rather weird, if you go for it and finalize everything following one logic, it will work out. So in this second stage, I worked a lot on this secondary light source, which is the cyan glow of the gem. Who is this? I can't talk until I know who this is. Character stuck on the wall, supposed to be made out of a gem. Alright, I guess I was using the right name. The gem character. Right, so in here, inside of its hole where it is, I kind of made it a bit more complex than the original. Yeah, quite a few changes. So initially we just had a piece of wall covering the character. I wonder, this is like a knee or what? Is it just a separate artifact? It looks like this is the arm, right? And this is probably the leg. I'm gonna try to make it work the same way in here, because right now it's obviously just a separate piece of stone. Or should I maybe keep it this way, because I don't have a lot of time and this looks kind of cool. But I will add more gems glowing properly on the rest of the body of the character. This one, and I remember there should be some in here as well. So we'll add that. But yeah, I added the actual indentation inside of the wall where the character is, like, not sticking out of the wall. It's like inside of it, in the hole. And its cyan glow is kind of like bleeding around this concave shape in there, looking kind of cool. And of course, I paid a lot of attention on the lighting of this particular girl, because if I wouldn't do this with the whole cyan glow from the one side and slight hint of the light from the light bulb over there, her face would be completely black if I wouldn't add this, because right here it's just flat lighting, and in this case we actually follow the proper logic of everything. The only thing is the cyan glow seems to be a bit too bright. I don't know, maybe I should tone it down a bit. Not sure what this girl, right? This character looks like a girl. What exactly is she doing? At first I thought she was using some kind of thing to remove the stone, but there's just a book in the other hand, so this is probably a pen, right? The orange thing. So she's just making notes and like, hey, this is exciting, something like that, right? This dude, he's kind of like a soldier. What is that in his hand, though? Looks like a rifle, but is it? Probably is. I don't really have to know that. And this girl is kind of undead looking with her very dark eyes. So yeah, anyway, let's continue. I think everything is turning out pretty cool. Really happy that I changed the composition. Initially, the character, the main gem character, was really too close to the upper edge of the canvas, and that's not cool. Kinda looks like Rick from Rick and Morty, I don't know why. Also, the cyan glow, it's kinda like their trademark thing. But anyway, I think it's a rather cool picture in general. I love storytelling pictures. It's always awesome to look at, especially with many characters. That takes quite some courage and effort to make this picture work. And I'm just fixing or just adding some shadows here and there. So let's finish this and then move on with our lives. Adding some bumps on the ground so it wouldn't look so even. So flat. And I guess this is it. It's really hard to finish this kind of painting. I don't want to make a serious out of an overpaint. So yeah, let's call it done, although it's not, but I think it's a good enough improvement. The new face of a character. What was the old one? A bit less attractive, I would say. But it's a matter of taste, of course. I think it fits better with the rest of the characters' faces. I would, however, move this part of the picture a bit to the right. I think this should be kinda like here. In that case, the picture would look better. A good way to check if it works or not is to mirror the picture. And right now we can see how this main character is kind of too much on the side, like it's not important, which is not exactly awesome. Also, let's liquefy a bit the perspective around here. It's slightly weird. Yeah, like a better arc of the top piece of wood. So yeah, I was thinking, let's go ahead and try to move this thing around like this. We'll grab this guy as the edge of what we're moving, and something like this. And just a little bit like this. I really feel like this is so much better. Also, I actually like the fact that these two characters are closer to each other because they're at a much higher distance in the third dimension. Like one is further away and another one is closer to us. And usually when you do that, it's also kind of welcome to overlap them. We're not really overlapping, that would be too extreme for this case, but it's still good that they're kind of closer to each other. It brings a better understanding of the fact that our tunnel is actually making a turn on the right. So, are we cool? Oh, right, and that's another seam right here. Right? Yeah, I think it's really working better since in here we have so much important stuff going on, like it's the main thing, right? These two guys, they're just the extras. This is where all the fun stuff is going on. It should be closer to the center. I think it only makes sense. Yeah, now it feels like it's really going over here and that's where we should stop. It actually kind of makes sense to keep the picture mirrored like this. It kind of works better in the perception of time. Left is the past. We're going from here to see this. It's a psychological thing of the composition. It kind of works this way. Not necessary, nothing is necessary, but it just feels better in that sense when I look at it right now. I mean, I'm gonna keep it like this so it would work better as an overpaint, but just a little note for ya. So yeah, I guess this is it. Before and after. Thank you AJ Zulu for your submission. This was really fun, although a bit overwhelming with the amount of characters and everything. I hope the stuff that I said was helpful. I hope what I did is helpful. On the composition, we had a lot of interesting changes in here, I think. Obviously, pushing the main character really close to the top edge is not a good idea, and the main spot that really should attract attention should be closer to the center horizontally as well. And also, as you can see, we have a pretty cool attraction to the main point of the picture with the cyan color. The rest of the picture is much warmer. Tell me guys what you think. Hope this was helpful. If you want me to overpaint your picture like this, the link to my Patreon page is in the end of this video. And I thank you for watching if you did. I guess you did if you're here. Leave a like and subscribe. Tell a friend. Dig. Do whatever you want. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. Man, I always keep forgetting what the original looked like, and then 2 hours later I switch back and it's like, wait, what? This was the thing? What happened?